Welcome back to The Aligned Path. I'm Glenn Pankhurst. Today's episode is for anyone standing in the space between. You've launched a desire, you've begun the work, but the results haven't landed yet. Maybe you're practicing alignment, but fear still creeps in. Doubt still whispers. You're not where you were, but you're not yet where you want to be. This is the becoming, and the space between is not a void, it's a bridge. One you build from within, because what you're really doing in this space is shifting beliefs. You're crossing from old, unwanted, limiting beliefs into new ones that serve you. That's the bridge. You're rising up the emotional scale towards the vibration of your inner being, where everything wanted already exists. And here's the key. This process isn't about reaching a destination. You are the destination. Every time you ask, every time you desire something new, what you're really asking for is a feeling. Relief, love, clarity, freedom. Because every time you ask for something, it's because you think you'll feel better in the having of it. That feeling is the true manifestation. I'd already been doing a lot of inner work, practicing alignments, reaching for better feeling thoughts, shifting patterns. I was focused on improving my life, moving towards freedom, but something still just felt out of reach. I hadn't yet felt the freedom I was reaching for. I couldn't embody it, not yet. Then came a turning point. I felt the nudge to step away, to take a break. That inspiration led me to what would become a pivotal moment. I went on a holiday, and it felt like paradise. For 2 weeks, I switched off completely. No obligations, no expectations, just flow, just joy. I felt light, free, and completely myself. It was in those days that I truly tasted the feeling I'd been reaching for all along. And once I felt it, I knew. That version of me wasn't just desirable, it was me. My inner being had already become that version, and now I had caught up, if only briefly. That's when I knew I wanted my life to feel like a holiday every single day. Not because of the location or the conditions, but because of how I felt. That meant I needed to shift my beliefs up the emotional scale until I could actually believe that this kind of life was possible. So I kept practicing, I visualized it, I remembered it, I brought that feeling into my everyday alignment work. And every time I felt different, especially while working or taking another holiday where that feeling wasn't fully present, I'd use that moment as an opportunity. I'd shift my focus, bring myself up the emotional scale, and align again with the essence of freedom I had felt on that holiday, what I truly wanted to feel. Now I do feel like I'm on a holiday every single day. And yes, I still work, but it doesn't feel like work. It feels like ease and flow. I have more time, I feel better, I'm energized. It's not about avoiding action, it's about aligning with inspired action. And when you stay aligned with that feeling, life starts to reflect it. More opportunities, more synchronicities, more experiences that begin to show up, leading you further along your unique path. That feeling is the compass, it's the destination, and I let that feeling be my guide. When you begin regularly aligning with a vibration that doesn't yet match your current life, something powerful happens. In my case, I was focused intensely on the essence of who I was on that holiday, the freedom, the lightness, the complete sense of alignment. I was activating my desire. I was aligning with my wanted. But every focus point has two ends of the stick, the wanted and the unwanted. So when I dialed in on that feeling of freedom, I was also inadvertently activating the opposite, the lack of it, especially since I hadn't yet fully matched it in my current life. And depending on where you are on the emotional scale with the topic, the contrast can land very differently. If you're close to that feeling, it's not jarring. But if you're far from it, as I was, the reflection is incredibly intense. And here's what's important to understand. It was never about the job itself. It was about my patterns. Patterns I had carried for a long time. ones that used to show up across all areas of my life. But by this point, I had cleaned up most of those patterns. My life outside of work had become peaceful and aligned, but at work, those same old patterns still lingered. I would give and give and give. Others would take and take and take. It felt imbalanced, stressful, draining. But that wasn't about the workplace. It was about the belief system I hadn't yet shifted. With that new clarity about what I truly wanted, the contrast at work, those lingering patterns, became impossible to ignore. The gap between where I was and where I wanted to be was too wide to bridge without change. I was so focused on the feeling of freedom, the alignment I had experienced on holiday, but my current reality and my continued attention to it was activating the opposite end of the stick. The unwanted was loud, and because there was such a huge vibrational gap between where I was and where I wanted to be, it became overwhelming. That kind of jump from deep misalignment to a strong desire is like trying to reverse a high-speed train. The momentum on the unwanted side was too strong, and my body responded. I got sick for a month, completely shut down. It was a forced reset, one I wouldn't recommend if you're just starting this work. It's always better to go gently, to let things shift gradually, the emotional scale. But I knew I could do it. I knew I would do it, and I was incredibly clear. I wanted to feel free. I couldn't keep doing what I was doing. There was no way I could continue. It was a definitive shift. During that month, I dedicated myself to aligning. Every day, I did sound bars, focused positively, watched uplifting shows like America's Got Talent, listened to beautiful music, and let myself bliss out. Some nights I couldn't even sleep until early morning because I was so jazzed, so energized by alignment. And when I eventually returned to work, it was because I had genuinely risen up the emotional scale. I had softened the vibration of the unwanted. Before that, I tried coming back a few times and just got sick again because I wasn't ready. I hadn't yet shifted. And something else became clear in this process. So many of us accept misalignment as just how life is. We think it's normal to feel drained, unfulfilled. We tell ourselves, everyone has to work, or no one really likes every part of their job. But none of that is true. Doing this work allows you to challenge and change those stories, to rewrite them completely, so you can actually have the life you want, not someone else's version, your version, unique, aligned, free. And I made a decision. I wouldn't do it anymore. Not like that. Not from misalignment. This wasn't just about my job. It was also about old stories, deep patterns. One of the most persistent was the belief that I had to hold everything together for others, not just one person, but in many relationships throughout my life. The belief stemmed from childhood. I cared deeply for someone who had gone through trauma similar to mine. I felt responsible for them. I believed I had to provide answers, find solutions, carry them when they couldn't carry themselves. And because they often felt afraid and disconnected from their own guidance, I tried to make up the gap with my own. That pattern didn't stay in childhood. It followed me into all kinds of relationships, including at work. I believed I had to do it all. I believed it was my job to solve everything, to stabilize everyone, and I did it, even when I didn't want to, even when it drained me, and of course, resentment followed. But alignment doesn't work that way. You can't manage someone else's vibration. This is a universe of attraction, not assertion. Everyone has their own inner being. Everyone has full access to their own guidance. My only job was to manage my vibration. And when I'm aligned, I don't need to effort my way into helping others. I just show up in my fullness. And from that place, others can rise. Not because I made them, but because that's their natural direction. That's where they're already being called. And yes, we can encourage people towards alignment, because alignment is ease, and ease is magnetic. But we can't force anyone, and we don't need to. We just need to clean up our own stories, get into alignment, and live from that place. And we've all seen this on a larger scale too. Think of those global moments when people collectively focus on something positive, like International Peace Days or World Meditation events. The ripple effect is undeniable. News stories in the media, more kindness, more lightness, more awareness. Alignment is powerful, and when a group holds it together, the energy is tangible. It shows us how naturally we all want to return to that place. That's emotional freedom, that's sovereignty, and that's the shift that brought me back to myself. If you're bridging a big vibrational gap, go gently, don't leap. You don't need to fix everything overnight. Start with the easiest thing, reach for a slightly better feeling. Let the unwanted train of thought slow down naturally, and let a new train, a new vibration, gain momentum gently. Because every desire is about feeling. We think we want the car, or the house, or the relationship, but what we really want is how we believe it'll make us feel. Every time we ask, we are reaching for an improved state of being, for a better feeling. So go straight to the feeling. Let that be the start. Let that be enough. Thoughts are like trains. If you've been thinking unwanted thoughts for a long time, that train has momentum. It's moving fast. You can't just switch directions in an instant, and even if you could, it would be jarring on the contents, and you are the contents of that train. Instead, gently ease your attention off the unwanted. Let that momentum fade. Begin placing your focus on something that feels better, even a little bit better. The more you do this, the more momentum builds in the wanted direction, and that becomes your new normal, your dominant vibration. But remember, the more practiced you become at feeling good, the more sensitive you'll become when you don't. That's not a failure, it's refinement. So start small, let it be light, let it be enough. The space between is not punishment, it's preparation. You're not broken, you're not behind, you're becoming. And the version of you that already lives the life you want, they exist right now in vibration, in feeling. So let that version lead. Follow the ease, the joy, the lightness, and trust that even when you can't see it yet, it's working. If you want to begin today, start first thing in the morning. 17 minutes meditating, watching, or listening to something positive to set your tone. In the evening, take a walk in nature, aiming for satisfaction. Every Sunday, give yourself an intentional meditative sound bath reset for the week ahead. And your dreams, record them, feel into them, let them speak to you. These are the rhythms that brought me back to myself. You're not broken, you're not behind, you're just out of sync with part of you that already knows who you are. And the more you practice alignment, gently, consistently, the more that version of you becomes your everyday. Want the full story behind this rhythm? Go back to episode 1, The Block. And if you want even more support with these rhythms, keep an eye out for my new guided meditation episodes coming soon. Each one is designed to help you reset, realign, and return to yourself whenever you need it. Thank you for walking this path with me. I'm Glenn Pankhurst, and this is The Aligned Path. I'll meet you in the next episode. For all the links to listen, follow, and read, just head to my bio, wherever you're listening or following. That's where you'll find everything in one place, including the latest episodes, articles, and all my social channels. If this speaks to you, please subscribe, review, like, share, comment, or tag a friend. Let's keep walking this path together. And I'd love to know, what are you working on? What are you letting go of? What are you ready for today? You can comment on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, or directly on the articles. Let others feel the ripple of your insights.